Cyberpower PC giveaway is currently running. Click on the link in the description for a chance to win some awesome gaming equipment. What's going on, Nasty Nation? It's Nasty, and today I'm going to be going over every single aspect of the champion Taric. This guide is going to include skill order, build paths, counter picks, and many more things, so without further ado, let's get started. Taric has been a hidden OP pick in League of Legends ever since his rework back in 2016. His win rate has floated around 53% for months on end, without ever receiving a single nerf to his near-perfect kit stacked with plenty of heals, shields, and CC. It's also because of this versatile kit that Taric can fit into just about any meta, as we have already seen him fit perfectly into both an Ardent meta focused around caster supports and a tank support meta. Overall, Taric is just a great champion to look to pick up and master because his extremely strong kit and ability to be consistently relevant in every meta makes him a very reliable pick in most if not every game. Taric's passive is Bravado. Whenever a spell is cast, Bravado is activated, enhancing Taric's next 2 auto attacks to be both quicker and stronger. Ideally, what you want to do is ensure that you proc both enhanced autos from Bravado in between each spell that you cast. Being able to do so properly is going to allow Taric to put out significantly more damage throughout the entirety of any given game, but more specifically throughout the lane phase as a way to pick up early kills. Taric's Q is Starlight's Touch. This spell will grant an AoE heal to Taric as well as whoever he has marked, but we'll get to that in just a second. Starlight's Touch also heals for increasing amounts depending on the amount of charges. Charges are based on the level of the skill and are stacked over time or any time Taric procs Bravado. For example, if 2 skill points are in Q, it can stack up to 2 charges. If 3 skill points are in Q, it can stack up to 3 times, and so forth. Spam this ability in fights in order to continuously proc Bravado and ultimately do more damage. Put a point into Q at levels 2 and 4, but max it last. This will allow you to get the maximum usage while still focusing on your stronger abilities. Taric's W is Bastion. This ability can be used on allies to grant them bonus armor and a small shield. On top of this, as already mentioned briefly, all of Taric's spells will be mimicked and casted from the ally carrying Bastion. This means that Taric's Q, E, and R will all be casted twice as long as you are in range of the targeted ally. Put a point in this ability at level 3 and max this ability second. Taric's E is Dazzle. Casting Dazzle will channel for 1 second before releasing a short-range beam of light, stunning all targets within the radius. Taric's kit for the most part is straightforward, but Dazzle on the other hand is a little bit more complex and has some playmaking potential. Not only is lining this ability up properly somewhat difficult, but being able to flash at the last second of the channel is another mechanic that takes some practice in order to pull off efficiently. It's also important to remember that using this ability from the perspective of your linked ally can be equally, if not more, important in some situations. Put a point in this ability level 1 and also max this ability first. Taric's R is Cosmic Radiance. When cast, Cosmic Radiance channels a small circle around himself and his linked ally for 2.5 seconds, making every ally within the circle invulnerable at the end of the channel. Taric's kit as a whole is quite impressive, but this ability is his strongest by far. Heals, shields, and stuns are always nice, but nothing beats an AoE invulnerability. However, as great as this ability sounds, it takes some precise timing in order for it to be truly effective. If used too early, the enemy team can easily back off and prevent wasting their cooldowns, while using too late, on the other hand, will result in teammates dying before the channel is even finished. It's the most important aspect of Taric's gameplay by far, so some practice using this ability correctly certainly is needed if you are looking to pick up Taric and climb with him this season. Put a point into R whenever possible. There seems to be a lot of champions at the moment who have multiple rune pages that can be viewed as viable. Taric, on the other hand, does not have too much variety, and instead has a very specific rune page that works in just about every situation. This rune page begins in the Resolve tree, with Guardian being the keystone. Guardian synergizes well with Taric's heal from Q and shields from both R and W, and overall works better than any other option. To finish off the Resolve tree, Font of Life, Iron Skin, and Revitalize seem to be the best options. Font of Life will allow your allies to gain a small heal whenever attacking someone you have stunned with Dazzle, while both Iron Skin and Revitalize boost your heals and shields from the rest of your kit. The go-to secondary tree is going to be Inspiration with Biscuit Delivery and Magical Footwear. Biscuit Delivery will offer some additional sustainability in the lane phase. as well as fix a lot of Taric's mana problems, given the increased mana pool that comes along with the consumption of each biscuit. Finally, Magical Footwear will grant free Tier 1 boots, as well as some extra move speed, which rounds out the runes quite nicely. Moving on into summoner spells, Flash for obvious reasons is going to be the first summoner spell selected, but the second spell can often be switched around. Exhaust works best when Taric is in a bad or even matchup, while on the other hand, Ignite works best in winning lane matchups. However, with that being said, Taric is most effective in the later parts of the game, and it is for that reason that he doesn't have many winning lane matchups, and will end up wanting Exhaust in most cases. Heal is another summoner spell worth mentioning, considering we have seen certain metas that encourage supports to take heal, which showed us in those moments that it can in fact be viable on Taric in certain situations, but for now, Exhaust remains the superior choice. As previously mentioned, Taric is a flexible and reliable pick that fits into just about any situation. Even then, though, there are some matchups that Taric can find himself excelling or falling behind in. For example, caster supports such as Janna, Sona, or Lulu seem to have the upper hand, considering they have little to no trouble out-sustaining and out-trading a melee champion as a ranged champion. On the other hand, Taric has the advantage against all-in supports such as Blitzcrank, Thresh, and Leona, considering he can easily peel for and turn around any attempted engage. Taric is going to want to start Relic and eventually upgrade that into Eye of the Equinox. As for boots, either Merc Treads or Ninja Tabi will be selected based on the given enemy team comp. If up against a heavy AD comp with lots of auto-attack focused champions, then opt for Tabis. If up against an AP heavy team with lots of crowd control, then go for Merc Treads. CDR boots and mobility boots are common boots for many supports, but CDR will be capped off eventually, and Taric's roaming potential isn't too great, and it's for those reasons that those options aren't viable. Knight's Vow is going to come next in the build path as a way to increase tank stats and gain an additional 10% CDR. On top of this, the active usage of Knight's Vow will allow you to soak up some damage received from one of your teammates, which only adds to Taric's oppressive peeling ability. Next up on the build path, I recommend buying Locket. In my opinion, Locket is by far one of the most broken support items in the game, but given the fact that it doesn't include any CDR, I prefer to postpone it until after I've already purchased Knight's Vow. CDR ultimately allows you to have your abilities up more often and thus make more plays more often, which is absolutely necessary when looking to climb as a support player. So again, that's why Locket comes forth in the build path instead of being more highly prioritized. The fifth item in the build is going to be Ardent Sensor. By this point in the game, you should be fairly tanky, and now you can start picking up some semi-squishy and more offensive items. Although Ardent was nerfed last season, it's still a fairly decent item, and given Taric has so many ways to proc it, it synergizes quite nicely. To finalize the build, I recommend getting Redemption. Redemption could arguably come before the Ardent because of just how strong it currently is, but nevertheless it will round out the build nicely and with another somewhat squishy yet powerful item. Moving on into the gameplay aspect of Taric now, I don't actually want to spend too much time talking about Taric's lane phase because the late game is where he truly shines. Throughout the early stages of the game, Taric's sole job is to peel for his ADC from all-ins and ganks, while occasionally looking to trade. When trading in the lane phase, it's most common to lead with E, auto twice to proc both stacks of Bravado, and fall back. In extended trades, you can lead with E, auto twice, then continuously use Q and auto twice until the trade is over. You can also set up ganks using the same approach, although in some cases you may need to flash to close the gap as your jungler collapses. Roaming is not Taric's strong suit by any means, but it could certainly still be pulled off. If the enemy laner is pushed up far enough, you could look to walk into the lane, apply W to your ally laner first, then use your E with twice as many beams to look for a stun. More often than not though, that won't be the case and you won't have the time to actually link to your ally first. Instead, you'll be required to either properly angle your E in the direction you expect the enemy to walk, or simply E flash to close the gap. The mid to late game is when Taric will hit his power spike and truly start to make an impact on the game, and it's during this time that you're going to want to look to group up with your team in teamfight. In teamfights, Taric's main responsibility is using his ult properly. I've touched on this already briefly, but it's really a game-changing ultimate. If used properly, you can completely neglect any and all incoming damage from the enemy team and instantly turn the fight in your favor, while using it incorrectly can be a huge disaster and result in an utter blowout. No pressure though. On top of this, Taric's role is to stand with his carries, apply heals, shields, and CC any frontliners trying to get to your carries. Without a doubt, it's a lot to take in, but altogether, this is the reason why Taric is such a great champion, and this is why he has seen so much long-term success. That is, however, going to complete this Taric Challenger Champion guide. I put a lot of time, effort, and research into making this guide, so if you found this to be helpful or if you learned something new, please consider dropping a like or subscribing to help the channel grow. Also, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below which champion you'd like to see next, and go check out my previous champion guides if you haven't already. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.